Crossroads and Halfway Tree in Kingston were poised to be the epicenters of political showdown this weekend. Both the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party were scheduled to host rallies in the areas on Sunday, the distance between the two being only 2 miles. But the PNP is now pulling the plug on its meeting until further notice. In a press release Friday, the party said it secured all necessary permits well in advance for the staging of this final parish meeting in St. Andrew. However, the release added, the JLP leader and the Prime Minister's belated decision to schedule a political event in Halfway Tree on the same day creates an unnecessary overlap that risks placing supporters of both parties in close proximity.
In the expectation that the JLP rally is to announce the date of the general election, something which we and the people of Jamaica have been calling for, we have decided to hold our meeting on a later date to be announced. We would not want our supporters to be concerned about possible confrontation in this time of intense political fervor, a potential risk that would be heightened with both parties having meetings on the same night relatively close to each other.
PNP President Mark Golding had this appeal.
I call on all Jamaicans to behave in a respectful and orderly manner and avoid any political confrontation so that we can have a clean and peaceful election.
Now, the party's decision to postpone the meeting due to public safety concerns follows weeks marred by reports of vandalism of political paraphernalia and alleged harassment by party supporters on both sides. This was on Thursday along Rosemary Lane in Kingston. And this is just one of many such incidents in recent times. Liaison Officer for the Political Ombudsman, LaFron Thompson, in an interview with CVM News earlier this week, said despite some reports of vandalism, things have been mostly peaceful. But concerns persist that the election period could spark further violence.
These incidents happening in plain daylight along Rosemary Lane, Rum Lane, and the Prime Minister is down there in the constituency. A lot of police officers are down there, and this kind of thing is happening.
Amoy Harriet, CVM News.
But the JLP is rubbishing claims by the PNP. The meeting in Crossroads was cancelled in the interest of the public. Chairman of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Senator Apker Fitz-Henley, says the party doesn't intend to go tit for tat about who first made arrangements to host a meeting in Kingston and St. Andrew.
That is not our understanding of the facts, but I don't propose to get into a tit for tat with Golding and the PNP because their track record of misleading the people of Jamaica is well known. I heard the opposition leader suggesting the Prime Minister had planned a meeting. He well knows that the planning of political meetings is really a function of the Secretariat of political parties, but he's so covetous of the Prime Minister. He seeks to disparage Dr. Holness any opportunity he gets. But I believe the people of Jamaica see that for what it is. Envy and a willingness to mislead on the part of Golding.
And CVM News invites you to join us this Sunday at 6 p.m. for a special lead story. You'll hear insights from leading political experts, plus CVM News reporters will be live on location in Halfway Tree, covering the JLP meeting as it unfolds. So don't miss this important broadcast. That's Sunday at 6 p.m. only on CVM TV. Now, even as a vast majority of Jamaicans are on election date watch, the politicians are extending their individual and collective reach, making themselves accessible and even vulnerable. Face-to-face session dubbed Let's Talk with persons with disabilities and stakeholders, the PNP leader, who has been repeatedly challenged by some from the JLP to prove his place of birth, leveled with them.
I'm really a Jamaican by birth because of this whole thing, because my dad came here in 1953 and he wasn't intending to stay in Jamaica. He had a one-year contract and he was supposed to be going, I think, to the University of Chicago where he had a post. But there was the polio epidemic and there was a Kendall train crash And he was very involved at the request of the government of the day in responding to both of those crises. Met my mother here and, had two of us, my sister and I. So, I could say that it's a whole issue of persons with disabilities and so on, why I was born in Jamaica.
Yeah, real Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
And now as a politician, unlike his father who was involved in institution building, Mark Golding is recommitting to take the Disability Act of 2014 instituted under a PNP-led government to another level, including making it more than just a law that exists on the books, but something that has an impact on the quality of life and opportunities for those it's intended.
We have a plan now for when we next form government. And we want to establish a disabilities fund. And our target initially is to start it with $1 billion. And that fund, yes. And that fund is not to displace or replace the existing arrangements and budgetary allocations within government and government agencies that support persons with disabilities.
In fact, he says it will be additional funding dedicated to targeting specific issues for that community.
It could assist organizations that support and advocate for the rights of persons with disabilities. It could assist individuals who need assistive devices and aids to acquire those. It could assist persons, for example, who have a prosthesis that needs repair and, want to be able to access the cost of repairing their prosthesis. Right now, that's a gap that doesn't exist. And we need to fill that gap.
Cara Moore, an educator and poultry farmer who lost both feet due to complications with diabetes, represents a community that remains undaunted in spirit and purpose in spite of challenges. While as voters weigh their options this week, one faith-based organization offered a different modus operandi on CVM's lead story. The Jamaica First movement, represented by Reverend Al Miller, knocking on the doors of mainstream politics, says it intends to provide a shift in the national conversation. The leader makes the case the most effective political solutions are not found in shouting matches or bus tours, but in a deeper commitment to ethical principles rooted in faith. Crystal Williams has more.
The long-standing perception remains that all politicians are the same. The Jamaica First movement, however, insists there is room for a different aura in politics. But there are questions as to how far the intentions of its campaign will go. Well-known religious stalwart Reverend Al Miller on Thursday's lead story says there is a different way to operate around decision-making time, especially as a people raised on certain values and principles. Miller agreed that the power trip usually brought about by politics, whether innocent or otherwise, has the power to change a person from the inside out, and it is important for politicians to pay attention to the true purpose of leadership.
There is a better way. Let us allow values that which our founding fathers cried for. They laid this country on the basis of fundamental Christian values, righteousness, truth, and justice. And we say, come on, if that's what we believe, then it should run across everything and inform the way we do our politics. Yes.
According to the Minister of Religion, ideally the groups being targeted, whether for positions of leadership, service, or donation, will all share the same inner gene: patriotism to their island.
The purpose should be bigger than you. The purpose should be embracing others, because love should be that driving force that informs life. So when we do that, we are able to rise above it and not let the system entrap us.
According to Miller's research, an alarming 70% of citizens who have the opportunity to vote choose not to do so.
So we're appealing to patriotic Jamaicans who have the ability and want to put Jamaica first and say to them, come on, give 5 years of service to nation.
He also observes how many of these voters are seen as millennial and that younger voters have abandoned their political voice.
The young people. And the young people are hungry for something, and they have the energy. As we challenge them to say, come on, this is in your own best interest. It's for your future, your children. Wake up and move.
With reference to independent parties outside of the JLP and PNP, the movement leader admits history does not seem to be on the side of a party known as the underdog. However, he does not intend to pay attention to the negativity of this situation.
If we take that attitude, you never do anything. That's why it's going to take bold leadership. It's going to take courage. It's going to take commitment, a will to a purpose. I believe we have 100 Jamaicans out there who think like me. We have 100 serious leaders in this country who want to see more. All I am praying for is that the courage, the strength of will be there and step forward.
Despite how it may seem, it is not Miller's preference to offer himself as a candidate. He would rather focus on training the upcoming council within the party to lead not just the party, but Jamaica as a whole to a victorious standpoint.
My real role, ideally, is to lead that team of coaches, of good citizens who have the maturity, the experience, and then we will work with and coach a winning team so that to make Jamaica win.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
Stay with us for more CVM News at 7, coming up in a moment.
Party.
All roads lead to Halfway Tree Square this Sunday, August 10, 4 p.m. for the Jamaica Labour Party mass rally. Main address comes from Prime Minister and Party Leader, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. Demand JLP River come down. Mass rally, Halfway Tree Square this Sunday, 4 p.m. We choose Jamaica. See you there.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
24 hours, we've been asking across our digital platforms who would make a better Minister of Finance. Well, just a reminder that this is not a scientific poll. It started with a poll on X. The PNP's Julian Robinson emerged as a favorite with a commanding 82%, leaving Favour Williams with a mere 18%. But Facebook told a different tale. There, the gap was closer. Robinson, 56%, Williams, 44%. And over on YouTube, viewers also weighed Robinson pulled ahead, or again, 66% to Williams is 34%. Then came a twist on Instagram. Favour Williams dominated with a staggering 71%, while Robinson trailed at 29%. And so after all the votes were tallied, it was Julian Robinson with 58% and Favour Williams with 42%. Of course, we invite you to stay with us and look out for our next poll. That will